What's up, people of YouTube? F-Man Critic back, and, well, last week I told you all. I'll see you guys next time. I'm with a better movie to review. Right now, I'm basically kicking myself in the face for saying that, because this review is not a good movie, okay? I'm reviewing a very bad movie, a movie I was planning to review the 1 year it came out, but due to the fact of the new Plankton movie that just came out today, I have no choice than to review Saving the Bikini Bottom, a Sandy Cheeks movie. Now, to tell you the truth, when I originally heard about this movie, originally saw the trailer and everything, I was hyped. I mean, the fourth SpongeBob movie, I mean, like, that's a good move. That's like, I mean, the first one was a classic, second one was pretty good, third one was alright. So, what could go wrong with a Sandy Cheeks movie? I mean, I heard it's not just Sandy who's getting her own movie. Like I just said, Plankton's getting his own movie. Apparently, Mr. Krabs, Squidward, Patrick, even though, didn't he already get his own TV show? But whatever. But after watching this movie, all I have to say is,
I'm sorry, what the fuck was that?
yeah, seriously, like, this movie was an utter train wreck, okay? Like, it's, like storytelling, it's filled with plot holes, it's, and the animation, I mean, it looks like they try to make Sponge on the Run, but failed miserably, because there's a lot of stuff they took away from the original animation for Sponge on the Run. And as for the characters, either characters are either stupid, annoying, or just that, really. Okay? But what is this movie all about, other than basically the title? Well, it's about Sandy, Sandy Cheeks. She basically sings about how she's into science and how she's into Texas because she's from Texas, and how the Bikini Bottom's her home. But apparently, the entire city gets taken by a company named Boots, the place that Sandy works for. Now, listen, I'm no huge SpongeBob fan. I mean, I am a fan of SpongeBob. Yes, I have all the movies on DVD except for this one. And I do have some of the video games, but I'm not huge on the SpongeBob lore, okay? Like, I'm not huge on the lore. I haven't watched all the episodes, but I will certainly say Boot is not the company Sandy works for. Instead, there was an episode where apparently a bunch of chimps were her bosses or something. I don't know. All I'm saying is her company has taken the Bikini Bottom, and what does SpongeBob have to say?
And all my streaming videos on demand. I can't demand them anymore.
Really? Just that? Not your friends, or not your pet snail Gary, which was about the last movie? Not your friends and family? Nope, just your streaming services. Well, I get it, because this movie immediately went to Netflix instead of, like, this movie, it got the streaming service treatment. Instead of, like, being in theaters or something, it went straight to Netflix, really. So I guess that's a joke. I guess that's an in-joke, I suppose. Anyway, but I do want to point this out, actually. I actually heard that this movie came out before it actually was said it was supposed to release. I heard that the entire movie got leaked onto Twitter. Now, listen, I don't use Twitter or X or whatever it's called nowadays, is because, well, I just don't use it, okay? But I heard the entire movie got leaked to it and leaked onto that place, and, well, basically a lot of people got to see it earlier before it actually came out. So, but I had to watch it when it actually did came out on Netflix. So, yeah, I just wanted to point that out about the movie got leaked on Twitter or X, or whatever it's called nowadays, Anyway, so Sandy and SpongeBob decided to go basically on a road trip to save the Bikini Bottom. Alright, sounds good. But apparently, Sandy pulls this. Apparently, this entire time, Sandy Cheeks is a flying squirrel. No, she isn't. She is a land squirrel. They pointed it out in the show as well. Like, she is a land squirrel. And all the other times where we saw Sandy without her suit, we never saw her have her flaps, okay? hey, she was a land squirrel. But then again, this is not the only SpongeBob movie that retconned a few things. I mean, Sponge on the Run. Apparently, Camp Coral is how SpongeBob and Sandy met. Even though I'm pretty sure in season 1 of the show, that's when they first met. Whatever. The Sandy Cheeks movies are the only movie being the SpongeBob of movies that retcon a bunch of things from the show. Oh, anyway, so they're nearly at Boot, which is some reason at a water park, and basically a twister comes and knocks them offshore. Sandy gets into a fight with a bunch of rattlesnakes, and yeah, apparently she goes through something that DeviantArt would have a field day with. Anyway, she calls on her family. Her family comes, makes Sandy not basically something that DeviantArt has drooled over, and basically, like, the family, we get to see Sandy's family for once in the show, even though I'm pretty sure Sandy has 3 nieces, right? Why aren't they there as well, you know? But whatever. I will say this, though. I did like that they got Johnny Knoxville to play as Sandy's brother. That's pretty awesome, that is, you know? Anyway, but here's the thing, actually. Here's my biggest complaint with the movie. Okay, just a complaint of a list of complaints I have with this movie. But here's one of them I want to point out. We don't get enough time with Sandy's family. They're only here as a plot convenience, okay? They only show it because Sandy called them, and she was actually reluctant to call them at first, right? And then apparently when Sandy's family accompanies her, you know, like at first Sandy's all happy that she's with them, but at the same time a little reluctant. And we get this dialogue from Sandy's mother.
She can do whatever she wants in her life, as long as it's right here in Texas.
Now, riddle me this. Does that ever come back in the story? No, it does not. Yeah, apparently they say this. Sandy's mom basically does this whole thing about Sandy can do whatever she wants, but as long as she stays home in Texas. And, like, that goes nowhere. That never gets brought up. They don't do this thing where Sandy says, Mom, Dad, family, I actually like to live in the ocean. You know, I may not be a circus squirrel like the rest of you guys, but I love the sea and stuff, you know? Oh, it doesn't come back ever. I mean, yes, it would be a cheap shot, because they're going for, like, a lie reveal story or something like that, and it would be cliche, but it was a lot better what they actually did in the movie, because that whole thing doesn't come up. They don't play it off. Sandy doesn't have any, like, conflicts with her family about discussing what she actually wants. No, instead, that scene was completely pointless. And once again, Sandy's family is only just some kind of ex-machina or something to fill in the space. Alright, but let's move on. We get introduced to the villain of the movie. Wanda Sykes, who plays the villain Tsunami. Whatever. What's her end goal here? What's her deal? Apparently, like, she's the new head honcho of Boot. Apparently, like, what she plans to do is she plans to take the entire Bikini Bottom and alter their DNA so they can technically breathe even the air, and then she was gonna clone all of them and mass produce them for every child to play with them. Hell, we actually get to see a scene where a bunch of rough kids play with Patrick, Squidward, and Mr. Krabs, you know? Anyway, so that was basically her whole end goal, but she wants SpongeBob to be there because it's not really complete just yet. And anyway, Sandy and SpongeBob, they managed to make it back to the water park, and we get this weird-ass scene where SpongeBob is in a swimming pool, tickling other people's feet with a fucking demented look on his face. Jesus Christ, I thought after the events with Dan Schneider, I thought Nickelodeon was done with feet humor. Apparently not. Even if Dan didn't have a part to play in this, it's still pretty crazy that Nickelodeon is still doing feet humor despite what Dan has done, you know? Whatever. But they also run into Tsunami's dog, and I won't lie, as stupid as this was, I won't lie. The part where Sandy and SpongeBob, they both glide, you know, and the dog, we see it on a hang glider, I won't lie. As stupid as it was, it did get a chuckle out of me, I won't lie. But anyway, they managed to make it to Tsunami, and I forgot to mention about Tsunami's henchmen. They're fucking stupid. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, the reason I didn't mention them until I'm bringing up bringing them up now is because Tsunami's henchmen are fucking stupid beyond belief. Like, seriously, they're so dumb when they would give Patrick a run for his money, you know? And I'm not just being mean to their actors. No, I've seen their actors in other things before, okay? I'm just saying it's like they didn't know what to do or something, or they were just told to act stupid or something. As for Tsunami, well, here's Tsunami's flashback, apparently. And it is fucking weird as all hell. Apparently, like, for some weird reason, the filmmakers decided to Photoshop her head, Wanda Sykes' head, on the body of a little girl, instead of just using the little girl instead. And it's... I get it was probably intentional, but it was so bad and so weird and so fucking just look at it. Like, I don't know if it probably was intentional, but either way, it was not very good. Should have just used the actual child's body and face, you know, not plaster Wanda Sykes' face onto the body of a little girl. Anyway, moving on. Apparently, she was a sucker for sea life. She wanted to like have sea life as a form of pet, but every time she take it out of the water, you know, it would just die. So she went on her entire life trying to think of a situation. And apparently, we get this fucking pants shitter of a sea.
That little girl was...
What the fuck?
Yeah, apparently Tsunami this whole time was a cyborg, at least. Like, that is disturbing. I won't lie, I shit a little when I saw that. You know, like, god damn. And apparently, she's been spying. Apparently, Sandy, like, she's been gathering information. Like, Sandy, she's a spy, but she wasn't, like... We get the shocking revelation that Sandy was sent to them just to spy on them or something. But even Sandy didn't know what she was doing. Like, if she knew what she was doing, she wasn't going to do it at all. Like, and for some strange reason, the film is making it look like it's her fault. Like, everyone, citizens of the Bikini Bottom are like, oh, Sandy, how could you? How could you? And, like, she didn't know, actually. Sandy didn't know. So everyone blaming her, thinking that she did them dirty. Again, she didn't know, actually. Like, she didn't know her newest boss was Tsunami, and she didn't know she was doing all this. Like, Sandy was getting information on them, but she didn't know that this is what it was this for, you know? Like... Anyway, she gets a hold of SpongeBob, and instead of, like, you know, putting them through the same process of Squidward, Patrick, and Mr. Krabs, altering their DNA, yeah, she skipped the two phases and just goes straight to the cloning for SpongeBob, and I'm like, she doesn't, like, do they not know that his DNA hasn't been altered yet or something? I mean, technically he has been altered because Sandy did spray him earlier with something that made a SpongeBob breathe out of water, you know, and all I'm saying is they just skip the entire phase and they're just going to do this thing where they clone SpongeBob in the most creepiest way I've ever seen. And Sandy, you know, that she's given the whole mopey thing where she's given up, but she gets words of encouragement to not give up, and she fights back to Tsunami. Tsunami loses, and her head gets pulled off and thrown in this fish thing. Okay. Earlier in the movie, it was established about this weird-ass abomination for a fish, okay? I forgot to mention it until now. Now that Tsunami's head got ripped off the machine, her head landed straight into the thing's mouth, and apparently Tsunami is now a fish. Or at least her massive dream has come true. She wanted to be part of sea life. She became sea life or something. Either way, it's just fucking weird and a really, really poor or like story execution or whatever. Like, whatever. At least someone got a happy ending out of it or whatever. Anyway, and then, so they plan to put the Bikini Bottom back to where it was. They call Sandy's family again. And by SpongeBob, apparently SpongeBob had a reason to be in this. Like, I just want to point this out. Outside of being the main character, the reason why Sandy technically exists, he's technically the reason why she got her own movie. But there was no reason for SpongeBob to be in this. Like, most of the time, SpongeBob in this movie was most of the time just being background noise, just to make the kids laugh, you know? Instead of just, you know... Instead, he was just mostly just dicking around, trying to make kids laugh and whatnot, you know? And I get that, but still, it served no service for the story, and SpongeBob technically had no reason to be in this. Whatever. It's all character arcs so he can learn to whistle so he can summon Sandy's family. Whatever. They managed to restore the Bikini Bottom back to its place, and apparently Sandy and her family are living in the bottom of the ocean now. They're living in the Bikini Bottom. So that whole, also long as it takes right here in Texas, that didn't mean at all. And guess what? The stupid henchmen are underwater now because Sandy invented a shrink ray for them. Yay! And that was the Sandy Cheeks movie. And my God, what a movie it was. I really wanted to like this movie. Like, I honestly assumed it was going to be good. I mean, I expected it to be not a masterpiece, but I expected it to not be like this. This movie was honestly just a huge letdown, and just honestly, it was really stupid. It's the worst movie in the entire SpongeBob movie. And after watching this, I have no hopes for the Plankton movie, okay? I have no hopes for the Plankton movie. If this is what kind of quality we're going to get for the Sandy Cheeks movie, for any other movie of SpongeBob characters, then I got no big expectations for them. You know what would have been a better idea for a Sandy Cheeks movie? How about a Sandy Cheeks origin movie? Instead, how about we see Sandy before she actually became a member and a resident of the Bikini Bottom? Like, we actually seen her grow up and what made her got into science and to live under the water. And you know what? Someone else is already pointing this out for me. A YouTube critic who goes by the YouTube name Steve Reviews. And he actually came up with a better solution and a better ending for this movie than this movie did. I'm just going to let him take this away. And if you're watching this, you came up with a really better idea for a Sandy Cheeks movie than Nickelodeon did.
And picture this as the final scene. When Sandy is settled in her tree dome, she heads out to explore the local area and ends up getting into a fight with a giant clam. Everything goes dark as she gets swallowed by it, and as she slowly pries the clam jaws open, we see some light shining from above, where she looks up and spots SpongeBob, where the film would end.
Yeah, as he puts it, this would have been a better idea, you know, an entire Sandy Cheeks movie that was an origin movie that made her want to get into science and the ocean, and and the movie ends with basically how we met Sandy in the first episode she was introduced. That would have been a better idea for a Sandy Cheeks movie. But no, instead we got this crap with really questionable acting and really stupid characters and pointless stuff that could have been a decent storyline but just gets thrown out the window. Oh, and really, really pointless characters. Like when I mentioned earlier that SpongeBob didn't really need to be in this. Well, same goes for characters like Patrick, Mr. Krabs, and Squidward. Because guess what? The part where SpongeBob was getting cloned, they had free range to all over the lab. Like, their DNA was altered, they were playing around, but instead they were just standing like a bunch of like tsunamis as henchmen, Oh, I mean, like Patrick, I understand, but Mr. Krabs, you were totally fine with your best fry cook being cloned. I get it that you were scared, but come on, man, you had free range. Sandy was in a cage while you were just there, just watching in horror. Whatever. All I'm saying is there was no need for this movie to exist, other than just to make more in the SpongeBob universe and whatnot. All I know is the first 3 seasons of SpongeBob were the best ones, and then that was it, really. Okay? All I'm saying is if this is what's happening to the SpongeBob movies now, I have no trust in, I got no trust in the Plankton movie, Anyway, this movie was just garbage, the worst one in the franchise, and I have no hopes for the Plankton movie. This is the F-Man Critic telling you to like, subscribe, and notification. I'll see you guys next time. See ya!